are going to be getting Pikachu versus Snake as we expected. Going to be getting right into game one. Hollow Bastion to start. Interesting pick. Definitely a change of pace from constantly picking PS2 at the start of every game. And right off the bat, we're seeing the paid actor throw out these T-Jolts. And honestly, I think this matchup is just going to be a lot of both characters not really wanting to give up too much space in terms of zoning. And we see already, Arpeggio is definitely content to just stay on this platform. Despite the amount of moves that have been thrown out and the amount that has happened on screen, now their opponent taking more than 50%. Right as I say that, though, Arpeggio finally finding that opening. For how little damage these characters are taking, this is a surprisingly fast-paced match. I feel like there's a lot happening, and oh my goodness, what an answer back from Aloha, some solid damage. Arpeggio going to find his way back down, though. Taking a little bit of damage from his own nade, but if there's a character that can afford to pay for that kind of mistake, it's definitely Snake. Definitely a little bit on the heavier side. There you go. But honestly, though, it looks like Aloha has kind of been running the start of this game thus far. Definitely choosing his spots rather wisely. Playing his passive-aggressive style, I'd say. Definitely trying to make the most of when he does see an opening. Ooh, gets that drag on near into the back. They're sending Arpeggio off stage. Trying to chase that landing, but Arpeggio with the solid movement coming down. Again, those Beaver versus nades really good about getting Snake at a disadvantage. Alright. Arpeggio really struggling to get anything started. Again, really solid movement, but just nothing able to hit his mark. Aloha's just doing a really good job of not getting hit by anything. Right, as I say that, though, going to get C4 going to sneak up on him a little bit. And the thing about this matchup is, even though Aloha has been winning a lot of these interactions and definitely has a solid lead, just like that, right as I was about to say, Pikachu is so light, going to forfeit that start a lot earlier than Snake is probably going to. And honestly, I think that's going to play a big factor in this matchup. Alright, again, that C4 sneaking up on Aloha and right into the nade too, going to be taking a solid 28% for that. That was a really solid chunk of damage. And as we saw earlier, it does not take a lot to put this rat to rest. Oh, alright, oh, really good nade placement. Unfortunately, Aloha not going to be able to get that that pummel in without taking some damage from the nade. Again, taking that damage from the nade, just Arpeggio's nade placements have been really good at getting him out of a lot of tough spots, getting him out of a lot of situations that probably would have led to kills for Aloha at this point. Honestly, even though Aloha was doing a really good job at the start of this match, avoiding any of the explosives, avoiding any damage, he's just having a bit of a harder time, especially since he's playing on the back foot. He has to get something started. Gets the parry to up tilt, not quite going to kill, but if that... Again, just... That C4 is really sneaking up on him. Alright. Well, Aloha not quite out of this yet. Gets that up throw, and that's going to definitely take the stock. Aloha is definitely still in this. As we saw earlier, he has the punish game on deck to bring this back. He has those interactions that he can just get. If he can just the correct positioning, gets just the right opening. But right now, Arpeggio playing like a clam. He is clamped shut. He is holding onto this lead. And he is... The shell is just not breaking. Right as I say that, though, Aloha trying to finally find a crack in the defensive. Keeping Arpeggio off stage, tries to go for it all with that thunder right there, but unfortunately not hitting himself and not getting the spike either. Arpeggio taking that first game very solid. Honestly, I think this matchup, and honestly just playing against Snake in general, it's very easy for it to snowball once Snake does get that lead, because again, being heavy, just throwing those explosives out constantly. It's real! Like, able to afford taking those trades, able to afford taking a lot of abuse, just living long percents. Going to be capitalizing off of that survivability a little bit harder than Pikachu. That said, Pikachu definitely has the speed, definitely small enough to avoid all of those explosions. But fortunately, Aloha is not quite sneaking his way out of them. Let's see if he can make any adjustments going into this next game. Alright, off to the take him to Town City. I actually think I do agree with this. It's a little bit harder to set up those C4s on the Smashville platform. And also, a little bit harder for Snake to just camp on them, honestly. I think it's... Ooh, on a really tough spot off stage. Aloha trying to seal out that edge guard. Going to keep Aloha off stage. I got the tags myself. They both start with A, man. Honestly, though, Aloha off a really solid start, but we did see this is not looking too dissimilar to game one. We saw that he was off to a very strong start, and was unfortunately just not able to capitalize off of it. Ended up losing the first stock, actually, and he does have to be really careful. Despite the high ceilings on the stage, the side blast zones are rather small. One or two solid nades into back air on ledge. Definitely going to be taking that stock pretty early, but like I said, Aloha a lot more content to just camp this game and does have a lot more space to work with overall. I think that the counter pick is definitely coming into play here in this game too. Yeah, he knows that as long as he just continues to rack up that percent, that he's going to be able to kill Snake eventually. As I say that, getting the forward air, but not quite able to catch that landing. Arpeggio taking a lot of abuse, not quite able to hit this rat, but at the same time, he's content to just stick to the game plan. It worked for him before, and he's probably going to work again if he can just hold on to this stock. It really does seem like the name of the game, just hold on to the stock. Gets the tech chase into the corner, trying to steal that stock with the F smash, and not going to get punished for his troubles either. Alright, dropping that C4 again. Tries to sneak in a grab, and just like last game, he's slowly but surely tacking that percent on little by little. He's getting that momentum back in his favor. And all it's going to take from Snake is just one solid hit. That said, that backer is definitely going to do it. Snake able to take a lot of abuse, but especially a rage backer from Pika near ledge like that. No one's surviving that. And Aloha sticking back to the run and gun tactic of just throwing out these T-jolts and staying at long range. Finding the openings when he can, when a move is whiffed in scrap range. And I think that's actually a really good thing that Arpeggio has been doing, is kind of just like threading the needle between long and mid-range, where Pika can't do anything too explosive. Pika really does have to get into the close quarters to get any powerful strings started. But said Aloha doing a really good job of actually holding on to this lead, and Arpeggio taking a lot of abuse. Again, Snake is able to take a lot of abuse, but honestly, especially because he's at a stock deficit, this is not a good position to be in. He's really trying to find an opening, and Aloha, despite the fact that he's given up center a lot of the time, he's content to just stay in the corner, and he's content to just reset. I think there's going to be an F tilt that's going to take the stock. And honestly, all things considered, Arpeggio is not doing too bad in terms of percent. As I say, like, going to take a down smash, barely going to revive it, actually. And one other thing to note, that down smash not going to do it. A little bit stale and a little bit closer into the stage. Another thing to note, though, look at the clock. The time is ticking slowly but surely. This is a very, very long match. Only on our second stock and over halfway through the timer. If I had to guess, if the game continues at this pace, we're definitely going to be seeing something close to a timeout. And I think both players know Aloha definitely can, I think, more than willing to opt for the timeout in this situation. Arpeggio finally is starting to get a little bit more aggressive with his movement, a little bit more committal, and I think he knows he has to make these plays. There's not, again, time is ticking. We are at 2.5 minutes left, folks. Gonna get that up there, not going to kill. Again, those high ceilings coming into play. Overall, working in Aloha's favor for the most part. That backer definitely going to do it. That is huge. Aloha does not need to approach. Again, just content to throw out those T-jolts. Not approach. He doesn't have to. He has the lead. He's going to hold on to it. It's a double back air. Tries to get something, probably double landing up air into the Thunder. Maybe just steal that stock a little early, but Arpeggio with the DI. Going to avoid that setup. Again, just trying to get a little bit more aggressive with his movement, trying to find his way in there, get a little bit more damage racked up. Going to take more and more damage for his troubles, though. Aloha, again, just like throwing out these Thunders a lot of the time when Arpeggio goes for the high recovery. And not seeing a lot of punishment for his troubles either. Aloha getting a little bit more frisky with these setups. A lot more content to just go for some risky setups. Knows Arpeggio has to play on the back foot, has to approach. But going to take that up tilt. Arpeggio's still in this, but there is a minute and a half left on the clock. Really interesting play from Arpeggio there to go under the stage and stall. Waiting out the invincibility from Pika, and apparently willing to take that damage as well, but... Alright. Again, I think the name of the game for Aloha here is to just stay back, not take any risks, run the clock down. Arpeggio has to make something happen if he wants to stay in this game. This is, more than anything, is just a mental battle from both these players. Arpeggio, again, just trying to find an opening of some kind, trying to find his way back. Gets the nade into the up air. And honestly, it doesn't take much more. He just needs to find one really solid opening. Oh my goodness, both players whiffing. Oh, trying to get the
been forgetting.
lead. Wait, what?
We've been forgetting.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good.
Alright, really tense situation. There's 20 seconds left on the clock. Arpeggio's slowly crawling his way back into this game, but it might just be too little too late. He needs to find a kill. Is that backer going to do it? That's going to do it. And what a grueling game to Aloha. Again, just really content to just sit, run and gun, and his efforts will pay off. A 1-1 in the set. And this is just a mental battle between these two players. I think just having the mentality to go for the timeout in the first place takes a lot. It's a very exhausting game to play, not only for the one camping, but for the one that has to approach. Because suddenly, when the clock comes into this equation, it becomes a lot more risky to give up even a little bit of percent. Like, each and every interaction just becomes that much more meaningful the closer down the clock ticks. Going into this game 3, let's see if we see a change of pace from either players. Honestly, this has been a really neck-and-neck set so far. A surprisingly dominant game 1 from Arpeggio, but Aloha going to clutch out that game 2, and again, just more than willing to time him out. Actually, if that's the game he has to play. Not actually getting the timeout in that game, definitely something to note, but that's just because Arpeggio had to take risks, had to get in there. Alright, this game looking a lot more even than the first two, in terms of how it's starting. We're a lot more used to seeing Aloha start off with a really strong lead and just running with it. Whereas Arpeggio has been playing from the back and on the back foot for most of this set, only really playing with the lead midway through game 1. Alright, okay. Aloha trying to get these lightning loose, but wants to avoid the nade damage as much as possible. Really trying not to overextend at all if he can help it. Keeping Arpeggio off stage with the Cathedrals. Just again, rinse and repeat. And try and catch the high recovery. Not going to catch it, but still threatening. Arpeggio is struggling to stay in this. And this time, Aloha anticipating the aggressive movement and going to punish it. Way down. Oh, alright, Arpeggio trying to go for some hard reads off of the down throw tech chase. Oh, interesting trade. Going to neutral get up into that S smash, and Aloha again taking the lead. And we're probably going to see a lot more of that run and gun play. That said, this stage is a lot smaller. Pikachu does have less places to run. Ooh, gets the read there with the falling neutral air, but unfortunately not going to capitalize off of it the way he would like to. Gets doubted for his troubles, not going to get hit by that thunder, but Aloha just trying to cheese out these stocks, and he knows he can afford to, especially off stage. Yeah, Arpeggio's trying to find an up tilt, trying to find anything to just snake his way back into this game. No pun intended. And again, that C4, we saw it game 1, we're seeing it again. It's just sneaking up on Aloha, and I think having a lot less room to work with is going to make it a lot harder to avoid those C4 spots, no matter where it's planted. It's going to take up so much more of the stage. Yeah, Aloha sitting comfy at 0%, but as I say that, low. Find a little bit of percent. Arpeggio knows he still has time to work with. He's going to try and check on some chip damage before he really starts getting moving. Content to just chuck nades. He does not want to take any risks, but despite the fact that he knows he needs to make plays, he knows he's on the back foot at the same time. He knows that he needs to take as little risk as possible and try and take as little damage going in as he possibly can. But they're narrowly missing. So close. Finally finding an opening. So much coverage with the nade and the C4. Oh my goodness. What recognition. Situational awareness. And suddenly, Arpeggio slowly finding his way back. He hasn't gotten hit for an entire minute straight. Whereas I say that though, Aloha finally going to find a hit, but taking some trades for his troubles. We know Snake loves these situations. He's so much more content to take trades. Aloha trying to find something. He still has the slight percentage lead, but he is not looking comfy on this stock. One more good hit, one C4, one well-placed nade. Anything at this point might just take the stock. Probably going to offer the higher card. Oh, opting for ledge instead. And then the read from Arpeggio. Or may have not the read, but the reaction, the positioning, capitalizing, getting that up tilt, and he has the lead. This is so important. If Aloha can make this up, then he can still stay in this game, but he really does not want to commit to any approaches. He's been taking so much damage for everything he's thrown out. And again, if there's one thing Arpeggio has been doing a really good job of throughout the entirety of this set, it's been holding on to these stocks. And oh my goodness! What an explosive finish from Arpeggio. Getting that forward air seemingly out of nowhere.